Hey folks, Jessica here. So today I want to talk about Berserkers. I will eventually be doing a video like this for all of the Row 4 classes. And I'll probably do a list at some point where I give a numerical recommendation on which ones I think should unlock in which order. But for today we are just going to do an overview of the skills, some tips and tricks, and just a general recommendation on how I think you should prioritize this class. So Berserker is the first one I'm doing because it's the most basic of them. The most basic of the Row 4 classes. I'm not saying basic like bad, I'm saying basic as in easy to understand. It's a natural progression of the fighter line, which is the very first class you start as in Granblue Fantasy. The class is focused on doing charge attacks and also buffing up your team's attack while lowering your opponent's defense. Like, super simple, you just want to hit real hard. So you lower their defense, you increase your attack. Let's look at the Emp skills real quick. Well, actually, let's look at the innate skill. Full Arsenal increases your charge attack bar to full, which is pretty handy. That's why it's a charge attack centric class. It also boosts your main character's attack by 50%, and your your chain attack burst damage. Why is that hard to say? By 30%. The attack up is definitely more relevant than the chain burst. Chain burst is nice though. I'm not gonna turn it down. But yeah, this makes the Berserker good if you have a weapon that has a very beneficial charge attack bonus. Immediate example that comes to mind, which we'll get into more detail in a little bit, is the Xeno Freedax, which has a multi-attack buff for your entire team. Being a Berserker, you can full Arsenal and just use it turn one and just get that multi-attack boost right away, which is real handy. Let's look at the Emp skills now. Extended Mastery skills. Rampage 2, it's probably telling that I haven't even bothered to unlock this. Reason for that is Rampage 2 is a 100% double attack boost, 50% triple attack boost, 30% def down on yourself. All of that's on yourself. The couple major flaws of it: 30% def down on yourself is, yeah, it can really hurt. If something hits hard and you have that 30% down, you could get one-shotted. It's rough to have that def down. The other thing is, yes, it's a huge data buff. Like those numbers are absurd, like 100%, 50%. But it's only your main character, and that's relatively not that great. Most characters that have a data buff can data buff their entire team. The Ifridax will data buff your entire team. So comparatively, it's just not that good being able to data buff only your main character, because your main character is 1/4 of your team's damage, basically. The number will vary, but it's basically 1/4. You have 4 characters out. So I don't recommend that one. Rage 4 is an attack boost. It's for all parties. It will boost all parties by 40%. It's important to remember that distinction. It will hit everybody in your raid, not just your party. And it's for your party specifically. It will give a 5% damage cap boost. The damage cap boost is nice. 5% is frankly not a huge amount, but you know, every bit counts. The other one I have here is Armor Break 2. It does elemental damage to your foe, and it inflicts a 25% def down. Def down is actually kind of tricky to get depending on what element you're playing. Looking at you, Wind. So the armor breaks actually can be pretty handy, and it synergizes with Rage, because like you lower their defense, you increase your attack. Pretty simple equation. You hit harder. That was a limpy punch. I'm taking Miserableness as my sub skill. Your sub skill is going to be situational. But I like Miserableness just because it stacks with Armor Break. I'm not going to get into why it stacks with Armor Break, because that is a whole nother can of worms. I'll probably do another video on that single-sided versus double-sided buffs. It's weird. But just know they do stack. So those two together get your opponent pretty near the def down cap. And then you boost your attack and you smack them right in the face. In that, it's easy to understand. It works well for the purposes of doing damage, but this is where we get the drawbacks of Berserker. Berserker doesn't have much else it brings to the table. If I had to give a recommendation as to, well, I do have to because that's why I'm doing this series. My recommendation as to whether or not you should prioritize this class as an unlock is actually pretty absolutely not, with one exception. It's a good class. There are some elements that really benefit from it, but when you're unlocking Row 4 classes, you're looking for classes that enable you to do some sort of content that you couldn't challenge before. Usually what that means is not simply doing more damage, but like having something like, say, a damage cut, or something like a recurring heal, or a revive, or a clear. Like, those kind of things will enable you to challenge content more so than just being able to do more damage. Also, if you look in a team setting, like Phalanx, the damage cut associated with like that whole like Holy Saber Spartan line of classes, that is a damage cut for your entire raid, and that is a huge benefit that can be very necessary for your raid to clear content. And that kind of like group utility is what makes certain Row 4 classes good. Also consider when you get into Row 4, that's right around when you start doing content where coordination becomes more important. So yeah, I don't recommend Berserker because of that, just because it brings more damage. It does bring a nice attack buff, but there are lots of things that give you an attack buff. It brings a nice def down, but if you're in a raid setting, chances are someone in the raid is going to bring a def down, and the extra def down becomes redundant at that point. Where Berserker can shine is if you're doing solo activities, like if you're trying to, depending on what the boss is, like some Guild Wars bosses, it can be really beneficial to just be able to go in and be like, rage, armor break, miserable miss, full arsenal, ooh, your face, and that can be useful, like that ability to burst right off the line. But yeah, in terms of like coordinated group play, not that handy. So yeah, I rate Berserker fairly low in terms of priority. Do unlock it. You should unlock all of the classes and get them all to 20, because doing that gets you a passive bonus to each of your other classes. Also, there are situations where Berserker is useful, and you're going to find that with most of these classes. There's situations that justify their use. It's just, we're talking generally like how much your overall position is going to benefit from having it unlocked. So let's talk about some situations where they're good. Berserkers are very good if you are playing a fire team, specifically if you have the Xeno E-Free Dex. And yes, I know, it's only level 100. I just realized that earlier today, that I hadn't actually unlocked Red Flame Claws. I totally thought I had, and I just haven't even bothered looking at this thing again, but apparently I haven't, so now I need to go get some Angel Fodder and get it to 120. That all aside, the reason why Berserker is good with fire is because the Xeno Ifrit, the True Inferno Flame Scythe, works exceptionally well with Berserker, because its charge attack is a significant boost to your allies' multi-attack rate. Back again to why Rampage is not that good. Being able to full arsenal into the charge attack and give your entire team that multi-attack boost turn 1 is strong. And also, because you have a multi-attack boost, you'll get the next charge attack up faster, and chances are you'll just chain it and like pretty much always have a multi-attack boost. That's why the Berserker is good with fire. Other reason is it has a slight chance to burn, which synergizes with that skill I didn't unlock. When this is your main weapon, bonus damage for your attacks against burned foes. So yeah, it has a lot of synergy within itself, and it works very well with full arsenal. Other than that, there are specifically certain characters that will benefit from your target being burned. Sturm is the one that jumps immediately in mind. Bonus damage cap to a burned foe. So like in that way, being able to, again, chain attack, turn 1, set your foe on fire, and then just enable Sturm's full like Blitzkrieg ability. Pretty handy. There is one other element that could potentially benefit from Zerker. I'm going to jump to... let me see if I can actually find the thing. Where is it? Here we go. So, similar to the Freed Axe, you have... Am I looking at the wrong chart? That's going to be awkward. I'm looking... Oh god, I'm looking at the wrong table. Stick with me a second. I thought it was here, but apparently I'm a goddamn liar. It's here. It's in, no, it's in Treasure Trade. These menus, I swear to fuck, like, it's so hard to find stuff if you don't know where to look. And even if you do know where to look, like me, it's still hard to find stuff. This is the weapon I'm looking for. Hermanbulus. Hermanubis. There we go. Because pretty much just like the Xenofreet weapon, it's an axe, so Berserkers specialize in it, and boosts the multi-attack on Oogie. If you have a Berserker, you can basically get a free multi-attack boost whenever you want it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Berserker. Again, I'm not saying they're bad. They're just limited in what they bring to the table, and when you're first unlocking row 4, you're looking for things that give you a unique advantage that you didn't have before, not simply something that is slightly better than what you already had, which is kind of the case for Berserker. Anyways, that's all I've got for this time. I am not exactly sure which class I'm going to take next. It's probably going to be Sage or Elysian or Spartan, just because I think those three are actually higher on the priority list. But if you have any requests on which one you want to talk about next, post them down below, and that will influence my decisions because I value your opinions. Anyways, catch you guys later. Bye. Love you.